Chaos.
The Congressional Committee investigating the U.S. Capitol riots kicked off public hearings on Thursday with graphic video and chilling testimony from witnesses, laying out a case against former Republican President Donald Trump. The Democratic-led committee presented videotaped testimony showing that close Trump allies, including his own daughter Ivanka, rejected his false 2020 election fraud claims. Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards was one of two in-person witnesses who testified Thursday, the first of 6 congressional hearings intended to illustrate how Trump's repeated claims of voter fraud incited the deadly riot by his supporters on January 6th. She described hours of grueling hand-to-hand combat with Trump supporters who barged into the Capitol that day.
What I saw was just a war scene. There were officers on the ground. They were bleeding, they were throwing up, I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood.
The committee also screened part of Trump's incendiary speech immediately before the attack, in which he redirected his supporters' anger at Vice President Mike Pence, who was at the Capitol that day, overseeing the congressional certification of Joe Biden's election win. The committee further showed how even some of the people closest to the former president did not believe or support his voter fraud claims, including former Attorney General William Barr and Trump's daughter and advisor Ivanka.
In that context, I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bullshit.
I respect Attorney General Barr, so I accepted what he was saying.
Representative Liz Cheney, one of 2 Republicans on the committee, also noted that multiple Republican congressmen later sought pardons from the White House for what she said was their role in trying to overturn the election. Meanwhile, Trump, who is considering another White House run in 2024, lashed out at the committee of, quote, political hacks after Thursday's hearing and stood by his voter fraud claims. Ford also caused millions of dollars in damage to the Capitol. More than 100 police officers were injured, while 1 officer died the following day.
Room on Capitol Hill and beamed live on primetime, the first of a series of hearings to present evidence to the American public, evidence of an attempted coup.
We're going to try to get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
We lost the line. We lost the line.
Never before seen footage of that day last January was released. All part of an attempt to persuade doubters across this country of one thing.
January 6th was the culmination of an attempted coup. A brazen attempt, as one rioter put it shortly after January 6th, to overthrow the government. The violence was no accident. It represented Trump's last stand, most desperate chance to halt the transfer of power.
The committee, 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, has been sitting in private for months. It's interviewed over 1,000 people, subpoenaed nearly 100, and accessed nearly 136,000 pages of records.
As you will see in the hearings to come, President Trump believed his supporters at the Capitol, and I quote, "We're doing what they should be doing." This is what he told his staff as they pleaded with him to call off the mob, to instruct his supporters to leave.
In this first hearing, we heard from Trump's Attorney General. What did he tell the former president about the election being rigged?
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bull.
And there was this, too.
How did that affect your perspective about the election when Attorney General Barr made that statement?
It affected my perspective. I respect Attorney General Barr. So I accepted what he was saying.
And the emotional cost of that day.
And I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood.
But in America's echo chambers, who will listen? Here's a hint. CNN.
You will hear that President Trump was yelling.
NBC.
You will see video of them.
ABC, all with blanket coverage. But Trump's loyal news channel, Fox, well, they were dismissing it even as it was live.
But we're still talking about January 6th.
The hearings will continue through the month.